I want to show you how to tie the Turks Head knot. For those of you that have struggled with learning how to do this, you know it can be very difficult to learn. This is a decorative knot used for a lot of different applications. This book, this is my source of knots. It's called the Ashley Book of Knots. It was written in the 40s. Got a million different knots, probably one of the most comprehensive collections. And if you look at this, you'll notice, first of all, we have an entire chapter dedicated to the Turks Head knot. And if you look at this, you'll see there are millions of different ways to do this, and a lot of different dissertations in this book about how to tie this knot. But then most of them that you'll see demonstrated rely on some variation of this process here, where we lay it out flat on a table, we have certain crossing points, and ultimately we tie the knot before we then place it over the end of our post or whatever we're working with. I've never been able to master that. It's the one that finally makes the most sense to me, number 13 and 5. It ends up being really three simple steps. We'll come back to this again in a minute, but let me tell you how. So first of all, instead of laying this out flat, what we're going to do is tie it around our post. And what I've done for the sake of demonstration and practice is I've got a piece of 1-inch dowel that I use for practicing knots. And if you'll see here, this is the end state of what we're after, the Turks Head. Now we're going to start with a relatively long piece of cordage. And we're going to start with something that we should all know at this point. If you don't know this knot, you can learn it very quickly. And this is simply a clove hitch knot. Okay. Now for the rest of this demonstration, first of all, start so you can follow what I'm doing. Make sure that your bottom end is running off to the left and your top end is running off to the right. Okay. Now for this knot, we're going to leave our right end static. We're not going to move this. That'll be our standing end, and our running end is where we're going to be working. So let's start by putting our thumb right across the middle of this cross strand here, and we're going to unpeel that bottom end. Okay, so I'm left with half of a clove hitch. I'm going to now take that same piece and reroute it, this time over the middle piece and under the top piece. Okay, and then pull that tight. Now, so you can see that's what we have there. Okay, now I'm going to take my finger and place on top just to stabilize that knot and flip this over. And if you look at the back, you'll see that we have two strands. And what we're going to do is take this bottom one and lay it over the top one. So we now create a fisheye there. Now, this is our running end, same piece we were working with before. Remember, we're trying to tie a knot here. So if you look at this, the thing that makes the most sense is to just lay it over and then under, and we're going to put that right through that hole that we just made. Okay, pull it tight. Now, that's the hard part. The rest is easy. So we're taking that same running end. Now I'm just laying this back flat. This is the standing end that we haven't done anything with, and I'm just going to anchor it with my thumb. I'm going to point my running end in the same direction or opposite of this other piece. And now from here, our standing end, I'm going to anchor, I got it here anchored with my thumb. Again, I haven't done anything with that. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to now point my running end right up this rope, and I'm going to just follow it through, routing it directly along that knot. Again, here it's just a retrace activity. So again, pointing it up right along here, following it underneath. I'm just going to lay it, I'm going to lay it along the other knot. So this is the one we're following right here. And we're going to route right underneath just the same way that one is. laying it alongside there. And this is the one we're following, so we're going to route it right up under here. We're going to lay it right across there, just retracing it. This time it needs to go underneath. And we just continue to do that. Just retracing that piece all the way around. And at this point, I finally have remet my other end. So they're crossing now. So that's 2 wraps. If you look around this knot, you'll see that it's almost complete. And at this point, we just keep going. Again, this is just retracing. If you've ever done a figure 8 retrace, there's no different. It's just a little more crosses. Notice I can now take both ends of it and work from both directions. Again, just retracing it. You can work on either end. The other thing about this right now is we're not worried about tightening it. In fact, we kind of want to keep this loose so that we can keep. Notice now we're up to 3 wraps on most of our knot. So you just continue to wrap and wrap and wrap until you get as many as you like, and usually 3 or 4 is good. This one is 4 all the way around. This one I've got about 3, and you can see that it looks fine. We're not quite finished. I still only have 2 wraps right here, but when I make this last one here, I now have 3 wraps all the way around. And from here it's just a matter of dressing it, tightening it, positioning it where you want it to, and then usually you'll do something to seal off the ends. So that's the Turks Head knot. Once again, it all starts with a clove hitch. We're undoing the bottom and rerouting that bottom end, and then we're just weaving the back loop under or over the back loop, and that gets us started.